This is the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors of the Adams Community Improvement District. We have a quorum here. In addition, we have Supervisor Truckee, who is participating by Zoom. As is your custom, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm here. Did I say Truckee? Yeah. Sorry. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, with that correction, again, we have three board members present. Mr. Baird is not with us this morning, but the other members and Chairman McNamee is participating via Zoom.
I'm here too, via Zoom.
I'm sorry. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
And you've been quiet thus far. As part of your motion to approve the agenda, you should recognize both the two supervisors' ability to participate via Zoom, citing extenuating and special circumstances. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Make the motion to approve the agenda. Recognize the board members online.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any public comments this morning? We don't have any registered. Any public comments concerning matters that are not on the published agenda? You'll have another opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting.
Why wasn't there a published agenda? I went out last night, it wasn't there this morning.
Where there?
On the CID,
The agenda index or today's meeting notice?
today's agenda was not there.
I'll check that, and I apologize for that, but
I'm sure I saw it on Sunday.
Yeah, so this
yeah.
Neil, excuse me.
Okay.
Neil,
Yes, sir.
I've got my phone on here and the agenda's online as we're speaking.
Okay. It usually gets uploaded a week in advance of the meeting, so apparently it is on the website.
There's not a,
What he's looking at.
well,
sir.
it might be now, but
Since
it
our
wasn't
meeting,
an hour ago.
since our meetings are transcribed, would you mind giving me your name for the record
Charles Gordon,
and your neighborhood, Mr. Gordon?
Market Cove.
Thank you. Any other public comment for matters not on the agenda today? If that, then that takes us down to the minutes of your last regular meeting. They're behind the next tab there. This is the meeting of September the 19th.
Do you have any corrections?
I had no changes.
The only one that I came up with is when I asked for us to change the rules for code of decorums. In the minutes, it talked about that there was an issue of safety out in the parking lot after the meetings. I'm not sure exactly what was said, but what it was that there was a problem inside of the building as well as out in the parking lot. That's it.
What page? Mr.
I'm
Chairman?
sorry, I don't have that in front of me.
I'm looking.
Page 9, line 11.
You look at
Said
14.
Mr. McNamee requested that the board consider establishing rules and procedures for meeting decorum, noting concerns that some individuals have felt threatened in the parking lot after meetings. Tell us what you prefer, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I would prefer that it said in the meeting or, after the meeting inside of the thing as well as out in the parking lot, because the majority of it's happening in the meeting room.
Okay, I'll make that change.
Thank you.
Any other ones? Make a motion, we accept the minutes. Second?
I'll second it.
Second?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item 5 today is the monthly utility operating summary, and Matt is here. Good morning, Matt.
Say, Mr. Neil, I'm sorry. I was curious as to how many HOAs boards would be in attendance today or are on Zoom line here, because I keep getting a lot of questions from these HOAs, and I'm questioning whether any of them are being represented during these meetings. Is there any way you could add?
By show of hands, we have 4 here, Mr. Chairman, in the audience. 5, sorry, who are either board members or designated to represent their community here. Maybe
Do we know who they? Can we tell which communities they're from?
Orchid Cove is one. I don't know.
Sunrise.
Sunrise,
Stella Maris is here.
Altamira.
Stella Maris. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm sorry, say that again, ma'am. Green blouse.
Sunset Kingdom.
Sunset K, Steve, is it?
Villages of Stella Maris.
And Villages of Stella Maris as well.
Still a
Thank
Mayor
you.
South board member.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Baird also.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay,
Oh, not too bad.
I'm representing Sunset K Villas 5.
Okay, thank you. Matt, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Operations at the facilities throughout the month were in accordance with contract and regulatory requirements. All wastewater water plant requirements were met and all water distribution requirements were met. The reuse pump system functioned properly for outgoing pressure plant. Now pump station is in same condition as last month. Wastewater treatment plant received 2.32 million gallons of wastewater. In September, the water treatment plant produced 2.64 million gallons, and we distributed 6.83 million gallons of reuse in September. We read all 864 meters, did 6 rereads, and used 660 gallons of chlorine. As far as major maintenance goes, it was a pretty quiet month. We pumped down and cleaned out the old sand filter to have the backup. We actually, I want to say thanks to you guys ordered the Starlink for the plant. That's going to be like a huge help for us. And it's going to be a lot more redundant in an emergency situation. So I think it's a wise decision. We did the meter reads on an alternate date due to some changes per muni billing. But other than that, we had no accidents or incidents throughout the month.
Would you like to tell them about the controllers you put in and what they do?
Sure. At the plant, there's 3 high service pumps that pressurize the entire water main for the community. The existing operation was a single controller unit, and if that were ever to fail, then we would lose water pressure in the community. So we installed a backup that if anything goes wrong with the first one, the system will detect it, and the second one will automatically take over. So we just added a layer of redundancy to the system.
These guys are doing a great job for us. They recognize areas where our water plant could go down. And a controller, $2,000
Yeah.
per controller. By having a backup controller, it's one area. There aren't too many areas that could shut the whole system down if something fails. It's usually redundant, but this just made it one more step safer, redundant. If something goes down, and for a couple $1,000s, we were able to get that done.
Sure. Yeah, like we have multiple wells, multiple ROs, but we only have one controller for all of the pump systems.
You mentioned they cleaned out the sand filter this month, and as the backup. We now used to use the sand filter as our primary filter. When it went down, it would take 3-4 days minimum to be able to back it out with a big back truck and clean it and put new sand in. So if it went down at that time during a hurricane or anything, we'd have been down for a few days. We talked a lot in the last year about getting that disc filter in. So we ended up getting this filter. It's a big stainless steel, washable, cleanable filter. And that pretty much doesn't go down because you can wash it out right away if something happens and it doesn't shut the plant down. But now we have that new disc filter in there and the sand filter back up to the disc filter now. We won't have to use that sand filter. So that's a huge step too. So things are getting better, safer, more resilient as a result.
Yeah, and our quality of reuse has gone up too, so.
Yeah, and these guys.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Could you explain to the people too what's going to be going on Case Drive?
Sure, we're currently rehabbing a lift station that the coating on the inside has deteriorated over years. We just pumped it down and put it on bypass, and now that it's clean and dry, you can see the leaks in the walls coming in from the groundwater, which creates additional volume added to the plant. And once you reach 75% capacity at a plant, the DEP starts asking you to look into expanding the plant. So we all want to avoid that because that's a big ticket item. So the less water we can pump to the plant, the better. So
Great to see the trucks. I don't know if you've been on Case Drive yesterday. They were out there with a bunch of equipment and stuff, cleaning that up so they can get in there and epoxy coat it or something.
yeah, so they pulled everything out, guide rails, pumps, put a bypass pump in to pump around it, and they're gonna sandblast it down to very clean, dry concrete surface, then re-epoxy it. And the new epoxies that are out now are a lot better than what was done originally, I'm sure. So, and then it'll get all new everything in the ground and valves, and should last a long time.
Will that be just, are you going to only do the one right now on my property?
The Case Drive lift station?
Yeah, you're only doing the one?
I think that's the only one we're approved for right now.
Okay.
Well, what do you mean it's the only one you're approved for? We only approved one?
I think so. Or did you approve two? I could be remembering.
I don't know why we aren't doing them all if we have to do them.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some other ones that need it, for sure.
Yeah, I think right now, one or two are tied into our permit.
Yeah, so any station that repumps is a high priority station. Like on Cage Drive, there's 2 lift stations that pump to the one that we're redoing. So obviously, if that one goes down, that's a bigger
I
issue.
thought there were 2 that were.
You might have approved 2, and I honestly can't remember. I
Matt,
can look at it. Yep.
how expensive are those rehabs for each one?
I want to say they're 50 to 60.
60 was the one that you most recently authorized.
Well, you know,
That's,
being we've already got the mess there on my property, you guys are already staged. I would think that we should move ahead with doing the other one. If we can do one more, do it. If we can do 2 more, do that as well. That's just my opinion.
The next one would be the Master on Newport. It's also a repump station and the uprights for the panel are concrete. And I don't know what happened to it at some point, but all the rebar inside the concrete is falling and splitting the uprights. So that's going to need replaced also.
But yeah,
But that's not a big deal.
The concrete work, once the rebar is rusty.
Yeah, we'll just replace it.
Yeah,
We'll just pull them out of the ground. We'll support the panel, pull them out, but it's not a big deal. Oh, I do keep an eye on, we're still sampling the marina water and everything's been good over there.
Yeah, it's quiet, you know.
Yeah, sure. Well, king tides and I don't know, it's interesting to keep an eye on. We've had some high tides here.
Do you want to, first off, do you have time to?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought we approved 2, but maybe only 1.
You might have, I'll find out today and let you know, but if you want to do another one, we can definitely do it and I would recommend doing that.
The Newport,
yes.
So, well, why don't we
Want to make a
this one
motion?
up, Jan?
If I make a motion that we look into the second one.
Yep.
If it wasn't approved, that we're approving it this time to go ahead and get it done.
Okay, sounds good.
Second it.
And that motion would include a necessary budget amendment.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
In the meantime, I'll do a thorough, inspection on the rest of them and find out, prioritize.
Yeah, the
which ones
repump ones are probably the most important.
Oh, for sure,
So
yeah.
that's one on Newport. We just,
But right now, yeah. Yeah.
Anything else, Lynn?
No, sir, that's it.
Any other
Once
questions?
again, once again, Matt, you guys are doing a stellar job. And please relay that to your employees.
Thank you, I will. They'll be glad to
Thank
hear
you.
it. Thank you.
Item 6 today is the manager's report. Just to give the board a couple of updates. The first one, the utility billing update with the new rates has been accomplished and was seamless. The rates, as you know, go into effect on October 1st. We advised the residents with the bill that went out at the end of August, the effective date of the new rates. They'll be reflected on the bill that residents receive in December for the October and November period. No calls and no emails as a result of that, but I think when they get that first bill, that may change. But the conversion to the billing software was complete without any issues at all.
I brought in.
Neil, they, I've
Hang on one
had,
second.
okay.
Hang on, Steve. I
Okay.
brought in a copy of the Collier County billing for like Laley.
Yeah.
And on there it has an average monthly bill, because the person I worked with just moved in there and hadn't even moved into the place yet, and she's rehabbing it before she moves in. Hadn't used any water other than irrigation, and her bill was like $275 for the month. There's a copy right there. It gives you the average in the middle. I circled it.
And
That's an average bill in Collier County.
Average bill is $297.76.
and would
Per
not
month.
include irrigation at the residential.
Yeah, they don't have separate irrigation
In
lines.
Laley, there's a separate irrigation.
Oh, there is?
That is owned by the
Oh.
district, and so the district, and so that would not include irrigation.
Well, I think
water.
she's an old lady, so I don't know if that's in there or not.
Good point. I'm gonna grab one of those when I go.
But yeah,
It doesn't
you
say
think,
irrigation on it.
you
just
think our
says-
billing is confusing, just try and look at that one. It's like, holy crap.
While we're on the subject, we don't have to open the floor at this time, but is there any questions on the utility bills or what's gonna happen with the bill coming in? Steve?
Could you please go to red X, we're not gonna do a report.
Come on up, Steve.
Steve, get to walk up.
At the last meeting, you guys had shifted the rates in the tables. I didn't see those posted on your website anywhere. Is that posted anywhere?
I don't know.
Maybe I missed it.
They had previously been on the website. I don't know that we put a notice on there saying they had been adopted, but I can follow up.
Yeah, if you guys could get those posted, just so we can see, because I know you moved down, there was a mistake in the table about a half-inch meter, which didn't exist, and you guys moved everything down, but it wasn't clear to me exactly how that affected everything, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So it'd be good to have that published on the site if you guys could do that. Thank you.
I've also been contacted that some of the HOAs are having difficulties trying to figure out what's going on for their budgets. And I think there's still confusion out there that there's going to be a base rate on irrigation meters. We've said that in the last 2 meetings that there is not a base rate on irrigation meters, just so that can answer that question.
And as you will recall, there's no graduated rate either. The board elected to have a flat rate that is going to result in some savings, and we reserve the right to reevaluate that at mid-year, which would be April.
The effort was to, the tiered rate, I would say that favored people that use different amounts of water, right? And what our goal was is to make it even for everything. So it doesn't matter, condos, houses, whatever, the rates are solid right now, it doesn't change.
The next item that I have, and I sent the board a memo last week concerning the 2 RFQs that the board had directed staff to issue. We had 2. We had a request for qualifications for a security assessment for the community as a result of some burglaries that occurred in the summer. That legal notice ran on August the 8th. And in addition, we emailed a copy of the RFQ to over a half a dozen firms in the marketplace for an assessment for either hardware or general recommendations. We didn't get a single response. And in addition, the board at your September meeting August meeting had asked us to run a separate RFQ for legal services for general counsel for the district. That legal notice ran on September the 10th. And in addition, it was sent to 6 additional firms, and I contacted one in advance by phone. And for whatever reason, we also got no responses to that. I did have 2 firms locally who requested the full RFQ packet, and we provided that. Those are the 2, the Gray Robson firm and also Nossaman firm requested the detail packet as part of that. As a result, I've offered the board 2 suggestions. One would be perhaps to work with the sheriff's department's community policing person that is designated for our district to give us some overall recommendations about either cameras or license plate readers or other things that might be available for the board's consideration. And when I wrote this, I had also suggested that because we're currently a party to some litigation and potential appeals or future litigation pertaining ERU and C methodology and assessments, that unless you tell me otherwise, my suggestion is to continue with the Woodward Pierce firm on a month-to-month basis, especially for matters pertaining to current litigation. I know there's a potential separate matter, and we engaged co-counsel or special counsel with the Salvatore law firm to do the most recent opinion that the board reviewed concerning the parcel 13 purchase and the default there. And there is the possibility that the Salvatore firm could also represent you if in fact we find ourselves adversarial with the developer. So
You need a motion to be able to continue with that?
well, you've already engaged them, and so I'm going to pursue that further with them. You know, their practice specializes almost entirely in real estate law and transactions. I need to verify whether or not they would litigate a dispute or defend the dispute if it came to that. But I've already following up on that, and I will advise the board in advance of the next meeting if you want to give us some further direction.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can we comment on what happened yesterday?
I hope he brings it up as soon as I'm done. In fact, I'm done with that. We've got good news to report.
We're kind of on the 30 thing right now.
Yeah, and then go ahead and report.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the PrepMac lawsuit, which has been pending for 6 years, was set for a 2-day trial to include today. We put a large amount of effort into the pretrial prep and motions, and were able to prevail in what was approximately the first hour on a motion to dismiss for subject matter jurisdiction. The case was dismissed with prejudice. The trial, as a result, did not even take place because it was dismissed on a motion argued by Lenore Brakefield in our office, who I think did an excellent job handling this entire case. And so that is resolved. There is no more litigation involving the former assessment methodology. And it's a fantastic result for the district. As pointed out in the email from Lenore, I believe was forwarded to you all, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We, as you know, you authorized making settlement offers months ago that under Florida law create potential attorney fee liability. And so we will now be moving to attempt to recover as much attorney's fees as possible. And then Florida law allows us to recover costs as a matter of right. So we'll be filing for a motion for cost to recover. We'll hopefully be getting the attorney's fees. The attorney's fees are from when we sent the offer, but the good news is that includes all of the trial prep and the trial itself, even though the trial was heavily truncated as a result of victory. There was a large amount of work that went into securing that. So it went really well. We're very happy with it. I don't think that could have gone any better, frankly. And we will, by next meeting, we should have, all the additional motions should be filed, and we'll know what that's happening.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's great. How much did we spend? legally?
I would say the trial lead up, I think we had said something like it was gonna be 50, I think we spent 40.
No, I mean total.
Oh,
mean,
I don't know
Daily
from
inception.
inception, I can look into that, but the settlement offers are what trigger the collection rate, and
Right.
so we wouldn't be able to collect prior to the settlement offers.
But those costs would not have gone through the final week in the final trial prep. Our office has been involved in 2 multi-hour strategy and meetings, so it could well be, our final cost could be in the $60,000 range for recovery.
Potential.
And I don't, Matt, I've been involved in a lot of litigation on behalf of clients over the course of the time we've been in the business. It was an amazing legal strategy that was so fully developed that it was hard to believe. 6 years of litigation, and it was over in a matter of minutes after the 2 sides. It was a big win for the CID. And Lenore and her support staff, it was truly amazing.
It was a lot of work, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Zach, I want to thank you and especially Lenore for what you've done on this. You really did a solid for us. It's restored my faith in your firm quite a little bit. So thank you.
We'll see how that appears in the minutes next month. I appreciate that, sir.
With that takes us down to the financials. They are behind the next tab there. These would be the 11-month financials. Be a little more meaningful next month when we get the preliminary year-end financials. So these are of August 31st. You will see there's a combined $5.2 million in cash on hand at the end of August, which is sort of the low water mark for the year as we come down to the end of the year. In addition, there's $7,841,000 in fixed assets that are net of depreciation. Total assets of the district, $13.1 million. On the balance sheet, on the asset side, there was $65,800 in payables at the end of the month that are depicted on the liability portion. On the next page, the income statement, the things that I think are meaningful. You'll note almost $13,000 in interest income for the month of August. That remains very high. I think we'll be even over budget for revenues, for interest earnings for the course of the year to be somewhere between $155,000 and $160,000, which is really strong for the year. As I look at the expense side of the income statement, obviously we're over budget year to date for both legal fees, in part for some of the reasons we were just discussing, but also engineering fees. But that's a reflection of a lot of work in terms of your utility system and permitting and other assistance with issues that we had concerning potential FEMA grants. And so the fact that we're over budget on engineering it's not material, but it's as a result of a lot of projects that move forward this year. Minor overages for some of the field service stuff. That's a function of the amount of billable time of Kevin Carter of our staff. But we're only $4,000 over budget year to date in that regard. And we didn't have any capital expenses on the general fund side this year that got underway. We had contemplated some landscape projects that could have also involved some enhancements to the streetscape and US 41 medians. For different reasons that didn't occur, so we're going to be $100,000 under budget on that. Total year to date general fund about $400,000 under budget, but some of that is a transfer into the reserves and a contingency that was not tapped this year. And then quickly on the utility side of the house, big month for whatever reason for irrigation fees, over $30,000 in irrigation fees that would have been for the June and July period, but received in August. Year to date, irrigation revenues about $145,000, and so that does not include the final billing period. And so we're going to end up being somewhere around, I think, $75,000 over budget for irrigation revenues. And then again, some of the professional fees on the utility side, but still the utility fund year to date $131,000 under budget. And again, I'll just stop there because I think next month will be a little more interesting because it'll be year end.
What do you mean irrigation revenue? Revenues were over, we took in money?
We took in more.
Yeah, more than originally forecast. Substantially more.
Yeah, it was a dry summer.
We had early summer was, I think, very dry. June, July here, and people were watering, and so we're going to see. Any other questions, financials? If not, you can entertain a motion to accept them. Motion?
And make a motion to accept the financials.
I'll second it, Kevin.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
From the attorney's perspective, as pretty much all of us were very focused on that trial, and so I have a lot of balls in the air that I do not have to deliver to you today, but I have my task list and I know what needs to be completed, so I wish I could say in addition to the trial, I had everything else done, but all I can say is the trial is done and everything else will get done.
Engineer was
While we're on this, I don't know if this is the time to do it, but how do we start moving forward with the Lindsay case situation? I know we have to bring a motion or something, correct?
And I'd recommend, and I think Neil earlier said that he was going to speak with Mr. Salvatore about what he would recommend specifically doing since you've engaged him to do that analysis. That was my understanding, and so I think that's what makes sense to me. Just as and just to put it out there, he in his memo says that there's a statute of limitations 1 year from the notice. The notice was March of 2025. So whether making this decision doesn't have to happen today, obviously we don't want to wait until March, but you have November. If we haven't talked to Lee yet to get his thoughts, we should do that. I think he just received his first bill in his last cycle, and so it's a good opportunity to talk to him and get something. And my recommendation would be to bring him to a meeting.
Okay. We also need to come up with a valuation for ERCs right now. You just said we had $13.1 million in assets. I don't know if we can equate that out over 1,032 ERCs to come up with a value. I don't know, but I think that we need to start working on that because it's going to be, we're going to have to go back after the marina expansion too, and I would like to see it start on that right away.
You know, that's a good point. The board had said you wanted to devote some time to this at your November meeting, and in advance we were supposed to engage Mr. Wire's firm. You know, he has been in some separate litigation and had some potential concerns about our litigation and exposure. But now that was resolved, I'll reach back out to him, Steve, and see if we can get him under contract and also perhaps available for the November meeting in a workshop vein to discuss the ERC valuation and potential impact fee going forward.
If I can make a recommendation here, I would recommend that in advance of that meeting, he, as well as your engineer, and maybe one of you all have a meeting just to make sure that there's some pre-discussion so that we don't walk into the meeting and then say, here's what we need you to do. Because the way that we got to this number previously appears to be primarily through the engineer. And I know it wasn't this engineer, but I think it'd be a good idea. And I know that your current engineer has reviewed some of the documentation from Homontes. I know I don't know how much documentation was truly there, but he has started looking into this, so I think it makes a lot of sense to request that your engineer meet with Russ, one of you, probably Neil, before the meeting, so that we have a good framework of so that hopefully they can come to you and say, here's how we finish this task, not come to you and say, we're not really sure what you want us to do, because then we're not gonna make the decision till December.
Right. One other thing is, and I noticed that Ray Jensen's online, I believe, and I was hoping that, he's so good with history that maybe he could give us some insight as to where we are with this thing right now, why maybe that the previous boards, maybe they just overlooked it, or why they didn't move forward with it, and maybe it's even possible to include him in this if he has factual background on this. Is that anything you'd be willing to do, Ray?
Yes, I would. I'd be happy to help you.
Perfect. I think we should utilize Ray if we get a chance.
So unless the board says otherwise, I think it would be prudent to set up that meeting, and I'd be more than happy to participate in that. But I'm not necessary. I just want to make sure it happens. I think it's important that the engineers talk to Russ beforehand, because at the end of the day, it is something that your engineering firm could do independently. But I think it makes sense for Russ to be involved, since our global goal that we established a couple meetings ago was to do a more holistic look at the entire non-admiral structure. And so it makes sense to just have everyone in the same room, because these things are always slightly interrelated.
What is there, once we come up with a number, a new number for value of the ARC, what does it take to put that into our?
It's more just like an informational piece, because and this is gonna come up at some point, but as Chairman McAfee just pointed out, we have, and we put this on record, that we believe that the marina did not purchase the additional credits it needed to purchase, but that requires setting a price point. There was a price point provided to them at that time, but that was many years ago. And so it's not, I don't know that there is a formal thing that you all have to do. We just have to have, it would be my recommendation that we have a supporting background for whatever number we're asking people for. So the marina
doesn't have to incorporate into our.
It's not a rule level change. It's something that we just need to know what these things, how we're pricing these things for our purposes.
I wonder if we shouldn't put that into our rules of procedures, just like it was in the past.
And this may end up in a rule amendment. It's definitely possible. And what would be the rule amendment? I don't think you'd want to put the price into the rule amendment, because then anytime facts change, you're doing rulemaking, which is not, in my opinion, a good choice. But what could go into the rules is kind of the way you handle your utility, which is you point to a resolution that you can update. I think there's a way to structure this, but the first step that I see is pure fact gathering one, is figuring out what should these cost and how do you support it.
Let's move forward on this as quickly as we can, because everything in this seems to be moving along glacially in some of this stuff, and I don't want us getting pushed up against the last minute on stuff. So if anybody can do anything to move this along, I'd appreciate it.
Pre-meeting and
So let's make a motion.
In fairness to Mr. Wire, he has been involved in other matters and had an adult child die unexpectedly, and so he has not been available or didn't have the capacity to attend meetings. But with our successful outcome yesterday and a month behind him, I'll reach back out to Russ. If he does not have the capacity to undertake this sort of work, then we'll need to quickly determine what our alternatives are.
Which board member is this? Steve, are you going to attend this meeting, or Dan?
Yeah, Steve's been the liaison this far.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear.
So who's gonna facilitate the meeting?
I'm going to try to coordinate the meeting and have Mr. Wire under contract in advance.
Now, if there's a statute of limitations on Lindsay case by March, what about the statute of limitations on the ERCs that weren't done correctly with the marina? Is there a statute of limitations there? Or
There's a different analysis here. They have a prior county development approval that required those credits. And so it's kind of like saying, if you drove every day without a license, it never becomes okay. from a statute of limitations standpoint, this is a similar analysis. They don't have the requisite credits they need to have their site plan. And so the way I foresee this going, and just to talk through it, is it's not necessarily that we are going to sue them. It's probably a code enforcement action. Because they have, to meet their site plan requirements, they have to have these credits. And importantly, in that record that we've gone over, it's not, we, the district, didn't say to the county, this is what's happening. They came to you. You said, here's what you need. They handed your letter to the county and said, we're gonna buy these things. And then they never bought these things. So they have an issue with Clark County. They also have an issue with us because they need to buy them. But there's several different ways that can go, and I'm not aware of or concerned about statute of limitations because it's an active issue right every single day.
Okay, and these locations that weren't purchased, what about the boat owners that are in those slips? Wow, are their boats at risk? Is there some type of, I mean, could they be said?
There may be internal issues with the develop. I mean, there may be some internal stuff, but
It would normally result in a notice of violation and a code enforcement action that could include a mandatory appearance in front of the code enforcement board for fines.
So the boats should be aware. I mean,
I would think it would be important that anyone who owns a slip in that space.
so we need to identify those slips.
If you didn't pay, you could have a slip reduction.
And that's essentially the reason why they had to purchase these was an expansion. And I think it was about converting the volume of liveaboards is I think what the issue was. And so the slips that should be concerned if you were to do this granularly would be the new liveaboard slips that were approved at that time.
Right, so they should be
Now,
aware.
the responsibility to buy this, is this on the prep MAC or is it on the marina board, or who's actually responsible for buying these?
It's gonna be, we're gonna have to look at the title chain to see who was the owner at the time of the applicant versus now. But at the end of the day, the entire site has one site plan, and the site plan is gonna be seen, the responsible party is gonna typically be the developer. But there's some fact-finding things that have to happen here. This was, as you recall, and we did this in the public meeting, we attempted to resolve this as part of the PrepMac lawsuit, and there seemed to be no interest in resolving this at that time. But it's absolutely something, and Chairman, you've been very clear about this, it's something that needs to be resolved, and we have the means and ability to do it. So, but I think part of the resolution is what you're talking about, which is we need to get really serious about the costing of these credits. And so I think the right thing to do to minimize disruption in the glacial pace is to get this meeting before your next meeting so that the conversation you have with the experts at this meeting is not a purely informational first meeting.
Thank you for that. Now, I just wanted to mention at this time too that Scott Prepman, we want to make this as painless as we can for him, make the process as painless as we can. You know, I feel bad that he didn't have the same level of representation that we did, and I think that's that's pretty obvious. But yeah, Scott's not a bad guy.
I have a question. Well, in that meeting, will they talk about the county property, collecting assessments from the county property? And we also have some people that have double lots.
The double lots.
I think that should be a separate discussion, just because the costing of this is kind of what I would say the more immediate piece for the case in the marina. And I would say that the questions about the double lots in the county is something that we should roll into the conversation about outlining the assessments for next year, because I think that's the best place to address that. So which is still a conversation with Russ. It's just what we're really talking about with Russ is two separate questions. There's the revised assessment methodology, where I think a lot of what you just discussed can be cleaned up. And then there's the question about what do the ERCs cost, which is something that involves more of the engineering, but also him, so that I want to make sure that, because he's done your assessment methodology before and we have questions, concerns, I want to make sure that he has the fullest picture possible of your entire financial and utility layout so that we can get the best possible product. And so I think this is a great opportunity for him to see both things and then give you something that is actually functional. So that would be my recommendation, is that the first piece is the ERCs. This will be addressed, it's in the Salvatore memo as well, and it will be addressed as part of the methodology approach is how I would suggest doing it, which you're doing. It's just going to take some, it's really, as Neil pointed out, we're having some fits and starts getting us to the meeting, but at the end of the day, I don't think anyone has any concerns about his qualifications or ability to do this. It's just bad timing.
The last staff item today was under the engineer's report. He was not available for today's meeting, but I did include the analysis of the utility bridge crossings and pipes. The board first brought this up at the beginning of the summer. We asked the engineer, who engaged also a structural engineer, to do a more detailed inspection of those utility lines that occurred middle of August. The final report was received about a week ago on October the 9th, and it shows pretty significant deferred maintenance and potential issues with the lines. The background material, there are all three lines. There's potable and a sanitary sewer line and separate lines to transmit water to the pumping station on the irrigation side, and then the distribution lines. His estimate to repair those lines, to sandblast and replace sections that are damaged beyond recoatings and various blow-off valves and whatnot, $716,000. His estimate to replace them entirety is just a little bit less than $1,383,000, and the details are all there. So this came as a little bit of a surprise, frankly, to me. In separate conversations with the chairman, these assets were not part of the original CIP. They do not appear to be part of the original CIP that was engaged by your former engineer. And so I made a subsequent note to see if they are on our schedule of assets under the transmission facility section there. So I'm running down the that angle, and have also talked to Jared about the fact that going forward, they need to be part of the CIP for, our rate base and capturing the necessary capital expenses. If you want to have a more detailed discussion of this, I'd really like to have Jared here, but at a minimum, I think we may want to prepare some plans and specifications to have the board get some real bids in hand from utility contractors, just to make a more informed business decision about whether we ought to go the repair route or to just simply replace them all, including the straps and the hangers and the permits that will be necessary from the DOT.
What's the life expectancy on a repair?
They said up to 20 years, because the most damaged sections would be replaced. The ones that
Dan?
corroded.
So it's repair and.
Yeah.
Dan, could you explain to them too about Mitch's possible involvement?
Well, that's kind of what Neil was saying. The pricing that he gave you is preliminary pricing. It hasn't gone to RFQ, request for proposals, or bids from other contractors. So that process, I would think, from what we've seen with the water lines, because we had to send out a bid spec for our water line replacement of the wellhead. And that ranged from $1.1 million to
Yeah, 2.1.
2.1, so about $1 million difference in contractor pricing. So when it comes to the pipes over the bridge, by the time we send that out for proposal and get bids back, I would expect it to come in cheaper than those preliminary pricing numbers that we have. So,
My recommendation would be for you to authorize us to at least prepare plans and specifications and put the project out for formal competitive bids.
I make a motion that we authorize Neil's firm to get that information started.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
This will go nicely because if you're already bringing the engineer to the next meeting, this is a good thing that you can discuss at the next meeting.
right. So earlier on, when you heard about all the engineering, we're over budget in engineering, it's because we have numerous projects right now that the engineer is doing all this work ahead of time. Just to give you an idea, the well pipes that go into the wells, just the electrical and the boxes, and rewiring the well pipes, raising the well heads, and getting it more flood protected so we don't have problems down the road with the increased water up there. Just that part of the engineering is $100,000, right? That doesn't include the pipes coming from the wells to the thing. That was another $100,000 for roughly to do the bridge. Would be another, I don't know, expensive to have engineers engineer all this and put out bid specs so we go to the contractors with it. So that's why our engineering budget's older right now, because of all the projects that are in motion behind the scenes.
With that, that takes us then down to item 12, other supervisor requests or any new business, if there are any.
I'll do a quick one. On our grants, a long time ago, we talked to you guys quite a bit about, we had grants, we were going in a couple different avenues with grants. So we had the same project, the water line for the wells and things under 2 different grant pools to see which one we'd get and which one we wouldn't or whatever. FEMA, the hurricane grants, 100%, we went after those first. The hurricane people have been interesting to deal with FEMA. They have denied now our grant request for the water line, which kind of knew that was coming. We are already preparing our appeal to go in there because it was haphazardly done. Doesn't make sense. They didn't include part of the project.
Yeah, you're froze up. The Zoom, the meeting's, okay, thanks.
I think it's down there, up front has it or something.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, are we interested in getting it for the whole community or not? Just a thought, I just saw it and I said, you know.
Yeah, Frank, I don't remember, I just saw the numbers on that for our community. You used to handle that. What was our cost? It's like $40 a month right now for fiber.
We appointed a committee and negotiated, we had a fiber contract, I don't recall the number, but we got a decrease in price, a small increase in price, $5, a big increase in service. It served us well. Dave's on the technical part, and we had a committee that negotiated the price. So I was just snorting.
I think right now, unless you buy more, you can buy, Dave, I believe you bought a gigabyte. You have a gigabyte at your house?
No, we have 500 meg.
Oh, I thought you bought up. You can buy it up to a gigabyte.
Yeah, I saw it went down again.
Okay, thanks. Hello. Thank you. Hello? Sure. I can.
A while back, and they were trying to throw in another extra $1 million into the fund they put together for Greater Naples. The Greater Naples stuck their feet in the sand. They did not want to lose us because they make a lot of money on our choppy fire because we pay some money. Right? So they didn't want to lose us, but they weren't going to do it unless the money was there, unless the county
Yes.
came up with the money, right?
It's at a different, it's not live though. Go ahead.
Neil had a great idea to talk to fire service, and when he did that, Greater Naples pulled their feet out of the sand and jumped at the money right away and took the contract, the 10-year contract, right? They're in it for the money. So now that fire trucks might service some of the community to the left, we have a much better opportunity to go in there and ask to be put into the general budget for the Greater Naples Fire Department, because our rigs will be going back and forth, and we're not way out here anymore.
Just another comment for you, you'll need to check this out and confirm it, but my understanding and talking to some people who work in the fire service is that we are dispatched by Greater Naples right now. They run the station, so they're doing everything, but they're taking the extra percentage and using it, and
We're basically being, it would be no change, as I understand it.
Well, that's what Zach was saying, is
That's
that,
correct.
yeah,
Your fire service is provided by Greater. It's just being done in a very convoluted way. They are a contract provider to a dependent special district that you are a member of that has no electeds, and then you don't get to vote on their electeds. And so basically, the only person in this whole pile that you elect would be your county commissioner. And that's one, right? So you elect that person, and then that person dictates essentially this whole situation.
yeah, that's, well, anyway, Russ is working on that, and,
I just keep sticking my head in the.
So I'll invite Lauren,
In
the
and
fire.
we'll see if
Yeah, pretty
that
much.
conversation can be had.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why it's important to talk to Lauren, is if she is successful and she is the one person who replaces Pasadoma, well, then she will still be involved.
Right.
And if anything, she'll be more involved and more important than the current situation.
Yeah. Like I went to a firefighter, I went to the Greater Naples meeting.
Yeah.
And, they just blew me off. You know, I mean, they just didn't care. You can tell. So, oh, well. You got your money, yeah,
okay,
okay.
with me, Lauren, now, I would like to be there because I want it to be a
Yeah.
multi-purpose water and all the Everglades restoration projects and everything going on. And I would like to have another shot at working with her on that.
So what I think it would be, we'll invite her to this, and so you'll certainly be there. But I think it's important before session starts, there's no reason not to invite her and Pasadena to a meeting before session starts on a go-forward basis, just to make it clear what your priorities are. And this is, so for example, Representative Bennerock, she goes to Marco Council before the delegation, now this is her initiative, she goes to them and says, here's what we think is gonna happen in this session. There's no reason why we shouldn't be having conversations like that with our representatives.
Yeah.
Pasadena would be a good one.
Absolutely.
She's turned out. Yeah.
What?
She's turned out. She's done.
Not yet, but.
No, but.
So, direction understood, and I think, but globally, I'm very familiar with this particular situation. Everglades was highly involved in that contract because they threatened to pull out all their firefighters from here and Everglades as part of that negotiation. And Everglades began to initiate litigation, which that piece of that contract was because their position was they were gonna pull out of both your station and theirs and just service you from the next closest station, which was going to be pretty bad result for everybody.
Well, I talked to Russ about that a little while ago, that we may have to pull out of Choppy Fire. As cities grow and fire departments take over more and more, it's a kind of consolidation effort by a lot of the major fire departments in all the states to consolidate, save money, right? And as they grow, we would become more attractive right now because the development's getting closer to us. Everglades is another 12 miles down the road, you said?
Yeah, Everglades has its own problem. You're in a totally different position.
Exactly, so we may have to drop out of Choppy Fire to try to take care of ourselves, I guess, so to speak.
And interestingly, I put this in the memo, you all actually have the authority to provide fire service, which is not a default power of a CDD. You have it. And so there's also another potential route that I put in the memo about cutting out the middleman, basically, removing Ochapi and going to Greater directly, even if they don't merge you into the boundaries, but that probably doesn't land the plane the way you want it to, because then you're still not electing these people as a contract service, and you're not getting the benefit of the county throwing in an extra million. So it's complicated, but I think the most important fact change is what you're highlighting, which is that there is a huge amount of development planned west of you on the corridor 41 that they are going to have to serve, and they're going to get paid impact fees to develop out from a fire standpoint, and that will totally change the landscape of their response times and what they can do from a risk standpoint. And I don't think everybody's going to take advantage of that, but you.
Yeah, it would be, we just have to really get into it and see what the response districts are, because in emergencies, fire departments have people come from different directions. It's just a big network that you use to supply the people with the quickest response times and that kind of thing. And we'll be part of that as the neighborhood gets closer.
I mean,
Okay.
Anything else, Russ?
Yeah, I got one more thing. And I know this is this is controversial, is that community center we keep talking about, which is gonna just, get kicked down the road forever, if we don't do something. So once upon a time, Steve had asked about buying a building out front that's about 1,700 square feet with the arch and everything else. And there's also land behind that, that the CID owns, sitting like a 70-foot wide swath there. But my thought was, if we bought that building, granted, it's still kind of long, it's about 1,700 square feet, the way I measured it out, and it would have to be remodeled to make a major room and then maybe a couple offices and a bathroom or whatever. But if we bought that, we could get a feel for if this community center would work. I mean, some people say it will, some people say it won't. I mean, we'd have to have some kind of organization going on there. I mean, as far as, entries and all, we'd have to scope that all out. But, the building's there, and it's not being used for anything. And we've got the money to purchase it now. And maybe the remodel and stuff, we have enough people here that we'd draw the permits or whatever had to be done, but we could do the work ourselves to keep the costs down and stuff like that. And then that strip of land, I was thinking we could build that up and put the generators there, build a storage facility for the generators. And then as time goes on, that arch area, if it really worked as a community center, and, Monday night football, Thursday night football, Marjan night, bridge night, poker night, somebody have to coordinate that. But, actually use it. I know, I talk to people and they say, Orchid Cove doesn't really use theirs much. And, I don't know, I don't know what coordination we need here, but, hold the meetings there, maybe keep records there. I don't know how that would work with you guys, but anyway. But then I figured that strip of land we could put a metal building there that would house the generators, and then if it doesn't work, we sell it. So it's not gonna take 15 years to get it done. That's just a thought, just something to think about.
Russ, I will talk to Tom and see if he has interest in selling that property, and if he would, what type of a number he would need just to get the process started. Just,
Yeah, I thought he
keep
gave you a
options
number
open.
once upon a time, but that was, real estate was a little different then, so who knows?
Yeah.
But it's just a thought, a faster thought than, keep saying.
Being that also supervisor's request here, Neil, I'm wondering if we can continue to follow up with the county about possibly selling our utility to the county.
I saw the county's new utility director at the county's final budget hearing, and I told him that I wanted to meet with him this fall to make a presentation.
Perfect.
His name is Jim Deloney, and he had worked for the county, retired. They have asked him to come back, and he is progressive-minded, especially for the new South Naples corridor that we've been talking about here. So that's in play. He wanted to wait, get his budget adopted, and then he said he would reach out to me, and we would meet this fall before the holidays.
Very good.
Any final public comment this morning? Your next meeting will be November 21st.
Ron Westerman, Case Drive. I just would like the board and Neil yourself to do whatever you can to expedite having some security issues looked at or some things put in play. I know that you talked about having that done, but I think it needs to be expedited because we're starting to have crime go up again here. People are having properties broken into again, as we had last year. It's starting to happen, and I'm starting to notice some strange people coming through our neighborhood, so everybody keep an eye out. Okay, I live at the entrance coming in there to Case Drive. I've been known to be outside in the evenings, and when I start seeing people that are not necessarily court people coming through, I figure they're casing and looking for opportunities. So anything you can do to expedite. We did put a petition, a lot of people signed, a lot of people are talking about we need to step up and do something here. More people are much interested in getting some security for the port, and I think you need to keep that all in mind. Thank you.
Ron?
See if you own it.
Ron?
Yes.
So I've been looking at security camera systems, and there's one that I've isolated. I think that's, it's a $500 camera, but it's got 2 cameras on it. It actually identifies an individual that's moving, and it zooms in on that person to get their face and whatnot, as well as continuing to keep the entire area under focus with the other camera. I'm looking at buying some for myself, but if I could get one of those and put it up someplace and we could do some testing with it, maybe the individual HOAs would be interested in putting 1 or 2 of those into their communities or whatever, but it looks to me like it might be something that would be affordable.
Well, I'm still thinking that you should have some people that know security come out and look at the whole community and make their suggestions on what it would do to, what it would take to get the community more secure and safer for the people that live in the whole community, not just specific areas, and then move on it and get it done. And I really do believe it needs to be expedited, not just kicked down the road. It needs to get done, because these people are not going to go away. They're going to look for those opportunities. They see people coming back to the port. Everybody that lost something from last year's going out and bought something new. Guess what they want? They want your new stuff. So that's my thoughts.
Thanks, Ron.
Isn't there that service that hooks up to the sheriff's department with those cameras too, or no?
They can be, and it has to meet their specification. My note here is to follow up with the community policing officer for this district, and I believe she's female, see if she can't help, coordinate some discussion here.
The one that was here last meeting, she was going to get me facts on break-ins at the next community down versus here, or criminal complaints or whatever.
I think she's a
I didn't get it.
I think she's a detective, but each of the 5 or 6 districts has a community policing designee, and that's who we'll reach out to.
Okay, real quick, if you have problems in your neighborhoods, you see somebody on the docks, you see somebody down by the seawalls, by the boats, or in the neighborhood, if you don't go out there and address them, don't just try to chase them away. I know a lady last year actually caught what seemed to be probably the problem children, I shouldn't say children, problem people in the neighborhood, and she chased them out of there. She went out and said, "You got to get out of here, you don't belong here." I would much rather that you would call 911, because when you chase them out, they just go down the block and steal from people on the road, right? You don't really get them out of here, and you don't get their license plate numbers, or you don't get their names or anything. So if you see somebody out there, there's a problem, we'll take care of it. We'll call 911, get the officer out here to check it out, or confront the people and get some IDs and things like that, so we can do something about it. Right? We just got to think of smarter ways to do it, that we can try to come up with this, cars, license plates, whatever.
Lisa, do you have anything to report on working on our drainage cleaning?
Yeah, you missed that part.
Yeah, I think you were offline at that point.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll hear it later.
I had a couple items too, but we were offline. So on the sale of the mosquito trailer and chemical thing, did we get anywhere with that?
No, this is in progress.
Okay.
The auction, in other words.
And another action item was the phase 1 bad lead reports. We were looking into that, attorney.
Yes, there's a demand letter being drafted, and that will be sent as well.
Kevin,
The only other thing I was gonna say is we were also looking into the Orchid Cove streetlight. Are we stopped paying for that, and where are we at with that?
Yeah, we expect, I have a meeting next week with our accounting staff. We have identified the specific bills in question, and then we will take action to take those off of the master bill. We get a single master bill. It took a little work to break those out, but we have done that.
Okay.
Kevin?
Yes.
We were, the president of the Masters Association over on Newport side asked us to cut those shrubs down in the median, and that was all done. But the other thing that she asked about was that big bush that's next to the generator area there by the marina store. You remember that one there where it goes kitty corner with a sidewalk across that? She got hit by a vehicle there once. She was on her bike once, and she thinks it's because that bush is too high. Can we have Soto come in there and either cut that way down or take it out?
Yeah, I believe that's the bush that has the pretty red flowers, and they're done blooming right now. So yeah, I'll talk to him about it.
Appreciate it.
I need to go catch a plane if there are any other items. If not, again, your next meeting will be November the 21st at 9:30. Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, Dan, real quick, we had 2 breaks in the connection tonight. I just got another warning for unstable network. So today's gonna be a little rough. The recording may have 2 breaks in it. They're small. But anyway, I apologize for the interruptions.
We'll have a proposal for solution alternatives for you in writing very quickly.
I said, check out T-Mobile.
All right.
Neil,
Yes, sir.
thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for the good work that you did in this last month. Appreciate it.
You had a great month. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Take it.
One second.
Aye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you all.